who had the right to one great wish, what would it be?
It would be 2 wishes in one, the second dependent upon the first. I would wish that there could be peace on earth. I would wish that all who are separated this day because of the war could be reunited.
Christmas Reunion.
This is Robert St. John, and this is a program called Christmas Reunion, brought to you by the National Broadcasting Company. It's going to be a long program because we've got many places to go, all around the world, as a matter of fact, bringing us civilians to our men-in-arms, and our men-in-arms to us civilians. There'll be professional entertainment from Hollywood and New York. There'll be GI entertainment from Chongqing in Miami, from Guadalcanal in Iceland. We wish we could make a wish come true. Doing the next best, we are grateful to be able to present NBC's Christmas Reunion. In London, England, just 100 years ago, a new story was heard for the first time. It was Charles Dickens' deathless work, A Christmas Carol. The crippled hero, Tiny Tim, cried, "God bless us, everyone." Well, God bless us, everyone, in this Christmas reunion with London, England.
Christmas Day. Down in the entrance lobby of this famous Red Cross Club in the heart of Piccadilly, there's a real Christmas Day atmosphere. Servicemen and women are drifting in and out. They're talking about how they've spent the day, how they intend to spend the evening. They've come in to ask questions and pass out information of their own. If you want a bit of real American here in London on this Christmas Day, it's the lobby information counter with Gwen Whittingham of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, in charge.
Merry Christmas. Hi, kids. Merry Christmas.
Boy, what a day.
What's the matter? Been having fun?
I'll say turkey dinner and hell.
I'll bet you ate at about 3 tubs.
Boy, I'm stuck. You got a good movie here tonight? I want to relax.
7:30 in Rainbow Hall. See you later, Joe. Have fun.
Gwen. Merry Christmas. Excuse me, are there any good shows on in town?
Sure, Sergeant. Lots of them. They'll tell you all about them at the ticket counter in the next room. Say, I've seen you before.
I spent most of the day here at Rainbow Corner.
Bet you had fun. What's your name, Sergeant?
Clifford Bird.
Where from?
Well, my folks live in San Leandro, California, but my wife and little boy live near Seattle.
A boy, eh? How old is he?
Just 4 months. I've never seen him, but I've got lots of pictures of him.
They always have. I suppose he's a junior.
That's right. He's Clifford, too, but that was my wife's idea.
That's a pretty nice lot of decorations you got there, Clifford. Let's see. The DFC, the Purple Heart, and the Air Medal with 3 thrusters. What do you fly?
I was a top turret gunner on a fort, but I've completed my missions and I'm instructing now.
Boy, from the look of those ribbons, you gave him plenty from the top turret position. Well, tell Miss Longman to give you a good ticket for a good show, and Merry Christmas. Be seeing you.
Merry Christmas to you, and thanks a lot.
Hiya, Wack. Merry Christmas, and what can I do for you?
Oh, I just dropped in with some friends for the party down in the Rainbow Room.
Where are you from?
My home's in Holland, Massachusetts, near Worcester.
Another Yankee. I want you to meet Sally Elding, our program director. She's from Boston, and you two Yankees should know each other.
Hello. Merry Christmas. I'm Sally Elding.
And I'm T.S.C. Etta Whitney.
How long have you been over?
About 3 months, but I've been in the wax for 7 months.
Are you having a good Christmas?
Well, it's not like being at home with my husband and daughter, but it's been very interesting.
What did you do?
Lots of hard work, but lots of Christmas festivity, too. But I think the thing I enjoyed the most was the Christmas party.
You mean the one we had here?
No, I couldn't get to that, but the wax gave a big party for English children at our Red Cross sub in Charles Street. We had saved our candy and gum rations for them, gave them toys and a delicious tea, and, oh, we had a wonderful time. I think we grown-ups enjoyed it as much as the children.
I'm sure you did. But you said something about having a daughter of your own.
Yes, I have. But she's grown up, too, now. Her name's Jane, and she's training as a nurse in the Springfield Hospital. She plans to be an Army nurse when she's finished.
Good for her. I'm sure you're very proud of her. Well, I'm glad you brought your friends in for our party here tonight. I know you'll enjoy it. And Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Mrs. Elton. The same to you. And to all our friends and neighbors in good old Massachusetts.
Merry Christmas, Gwen. Can I get a haircut?
Sure, the barber shop's open 24 hours. Well, if it isn't Chief Yeoman Wright, Merry Christmas, George. What do you want with a haircut on Christmas Day?
That's my first chance, Gwen. I've been working in Howe. As somebody said, there's a war on.
You're not kidding. How was your Christmas?
Pretty good. About 10 of us Navy men had Christmas dinner together this afternoon.
Were you dreaming of a white Christmas, the kind you had back in Denora, Pennsylvania?
I suppose, sure would like that. My wife, Olive, and I always have our Christmas gifts on Christmas Eve. And I hope I can observe that custom together again next Christmas.
Well, anyway, England's more like home for Christmas than Sicily and Italy.
Oh, I don't know. I kind of miss the excitement of those days when we were invading Sicily.
Well, George, you can be darn proud of that Chief Yeoman's rating, and I'll bet Olive is, too.
Well, I'm darn proud of the Navy, Gwen.
Tell the barbershop not to sniff all your hair off, and Merry Christmas to you, George, and to Olive.
That goes for me, too, Gwen. Merry Christmas. Hey, Gwen, look what I got from Christmas from home.
A watch? Oh, boy, what a beauty. You're a lucky Joe. Take care of that now.
Merry Christmas, Gwen. Where can I check my wallet?
Right over there at the cashier's desk, and don't forget your receipt.
Hi, Gwen. Can I get my pants pressed?
Sure enough, soldier. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
And now back to Robert St. John in New York.
When they heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. So it is written in the book of St. Matthew, chapter 2, verse 9. So it happened nearly 2,000 years ago in Bethlehem.
And consequently, we'll go ahead on a time basis. That means at 18...
And so it happened nearly 2,000 years ago in Bethlehem. Come in, Bethlehem.
Good.
December 25th, in the year of our Lord, 1943. It is now 11 minutes past 8 in the evening.
Bethlehem at Christmas time, where once wise men came to worship. And now we find an American boy and girl standing reverently in the grotto where the hallowed manger stood. I'm an American soldier. I'm standing in a grotto under the Church of Nativity in Bethlehem. This is a great moment in my life, and I want to tell you as much as I can about it. A long time ago, this place was a stable in back of an inn. Right here in front of my eyes is the place where Jesus lay in the manger, where the wise men brought him gifts, and where the shepherds came to tell of the angel that appeared before them. It makes me think of the words to a familiar Christmas carol, one that you've been singing at home today, and one that I sang with you when I was home. O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. O come ye to Bethlehem. Well, I've come to Bethlehem, and I'm singing that same familiar carol here. But now those words mean more to me than they ever did before.
I'm an American Red Cross girl, and I'm standing here next to the American soldier. There are hundreds and hundreds of them here in Bethlehem this Christmas Day, and if they could all express their feelings, they would all say just what this soldier has said. We all miss our homes and families, just as you at home miss us. And yet, we're having a real Christmas this year, a Christmas that none of us will ever forget as long as we live. One that will give greater meaning to all Christmases we're going to have at home future.
Bethlehem returned to the United States.
And now here is more GI entertainment direct from Fairbanks, Alaska.
This is Fairbanks, Alaska. The date is December 25th. The time is 9:17. And we're with a group of American soldiers, all non-coms. Here they are.
Sourdough, sourdough, sourdoughs are we. We've been in Alaska almost a century. Sourdough, sourdough, sourdoughs are we. From Simon Bolivar Buckner to the lowest PVT. Mushing through the snow, freezing head and toe. We will never leave this land because we love it so. What are we saying?
Boy, this is the whitest Christmas I have ever seen. What was that? Thermometer just hit 50 below. Correction, 60 below. Who do you suppose that is? Maybe it's Santa Claus. What do you mean, Santa Claus? You know he's down in the States, the lucky bum. Open up. Let him in, Wally. You've had your feet on that stove since Thanksgiving. Okay, I'm going. Well, it's Frankie Dodd. Oh, Frankie! I told you guys to cut that out. We thought you were Santa Claus. No, I think he got grounded in Wapakoneta. I just stopped by to see Mrs. Claus, and she said he ought to be back in a couple of days. It'll be good to have him back. He's a good neighbor. Yeah, and he sure pays good dough for helping him make those toys. But a guy can get awful sick of hearing sleigh bells all year. How about that Dunder and Blitzen of his? Those reindeer can eat like horses. Yeah, they get all the best food, and what do we get? Blubber. What gets me is Santa's little gnomes running all over the place. Those guys can work faster than CC, Phil. Yeah. One little fella came up to me last November and said, I can't understand how production in the States can be so high if they got guys like you back there. Must be the Dangers doing all the work. You know, they ought to draft those little guys. You fellas don't realize how lucky we are to have Santa Claus as a neighbor. Here in Alaska, every day is Christmas. The 4th of July is a nice holiday. How can you think of the 4th of July on a day like this? Me? I'll take Christmas. Even if it does mean that Santa Claus goes to the States every year. I'd sure like to go to the States myself. Oh, wait a minute. What do you want to leave Alaska for? Beautiful mountains, wonderful northern lights, fine bracing air, woods full of bear and moose, and the gold mines, the ski runs, and the midnight sun? And our Eskimo friends and the old sourdoughs. And Santa Claus. That's right. You don't want to go home. Well, maybe you're right. Gosh, but I hope Santa didn't forget to stop in Milwaukee. Sure he stopped there. He always gets thirsty around Milwaukee. I hope he didn't get too thirsty. He still had to hit Parkersburg, Chicago, and Atlantic City. Thought you guys were talking about Alaska. You know, we are lucky to be here. Yeah, we love it here. Don't worry, folks. They all get that way up here.
Sourdough, sourdough, sourdoughs are we. We've been in Alaska almost a century. Sourdough, sourdough, sourdoughs are we. From Simon Bolivar Buckner to the lowest PVT. Mushing through the snow, freezing head and toe. We will never leave this land because we love it so. A Merry Christmas!
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Deck Sergeant Frank Dodd of Parkersburg, West Virginia, Sergeant Walter Zawicki of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Corporal Robert Simon of Chicago. This is Bud Foster speaking and returning you to Robert St. John in New York.
Miami Shore, remember? Ultraviolet rays, captured in ultra-sophisticated melody, signed up for service on this Christmas day. For a Christmas reunion with a sunburned Santa Claus, we follow the Swallows to Miami, Florida.
From Miami, Florida, it's the 7th Naval District wishing you all good Christmas cheer from a traditional Christmas party on the Miami waterfront. Our young guests, and the children of naval personnel from all over America who are awaiting the advent of old St. Nick himself, Reverend Giles. Their first tropical Christmas is a novel one, as Santa Claus is not coming from the North Pole by reindeer and sleigh, but from the South Pole by boat over a palm French southern sea. And since this is a Navy party, I'll let Yeoman Bob Cole take over right now.
Well, it was a pretty gloomy prospect for Santa this wartime, Yule, with the sea given over to more vital cargoes and toys for children. But the ladies of today kept faith with the child's dream of Christmas. Before dawn, an 80 torpedo boat was dispatched to the South Pole with orders to get one Santa Claus with packs and deliver same intact to Miami's Biscayne Bay. That mission is now complete, and the PT is being docked. They're turning off the engines now, and those kids are rushing towards the stern where Santa is getting off. His traditional bag of toys this year is a regulation Navy sea bag. I'm trying to get through to Santa right now, but with all these kids, that competition's pretty tough. Well, hello, everybody. Gangway here. How was that trip by PT boat?
Oh, that was swell, son.
Have a good trip,
Fine, yes.
Well,
Much better than the last one, son. What's
swell.
your name?
Now, some of these boys are looking for these presents. You know, that last trip Santa mentioned just now was really something. He was torpedoed twice within 10 minutes. You see, our Santa disguises himself as Chief Yeoman Will Jewett of the Navy 364 days of the year, and that last trip was during the African invasion.
Well, what's your name, Sonny?
Buddy Price.
Buddy Price. What can I do for you?
A lot of more daddies are overseas, and I want you to take these presents to them.
Oh, I'd love to do that. That's an order, son. I'll take them over. I'll find your daddies wherever they are.
There's just one more thing, please, sir.
Oh, you're Carolina Moon, aren't you?
Well, it's actually the big shot case right over the side. Hear you pipe back aboard.
Well, that's something for our PT skipper, Lieutenant Jack Sills of Leonia, New Jersey, to decide. He's a big shot, gals, and he's a regular hero, a Navy Cross and everything. How about those requests, Lieutenant?
Very well, Santa, but first I'd like to say hello to Mother. Wilson Cade, carry on.
Aye, aye, sir. Well, goodbye, folks. Goodbye from the Army. Good luck.
And now to Robert St. John in New York.
Just picture a penthouse way up in the sky. A sweet slice of heaven for just you and I. But what am I saying? Those are the words of a song of romance. And there's very little in the way of romance in the spot we visit next. Here in Manhattan and in every big city along the coasts of this nation, we've looked out of the windows when the air raid sirens wailed. We've watched the buildings grow gray in the moonlight. We've looked down at the gleaming white helmets of the air raid wardens standing in the silent streets, and with never a thought to the men waiting behind concealed guns for enemy planes overhead. Some of these gun crews are on the ground in camouflaged positions. Many are on rooftops. We don't know where they are now, and maybe we'll never know. But in this Christmas reunion, we visit one of these lonely outposts somewhere on the East Coast. Ben Grauer, suppose you tell us what it's like up there.
Well, if you'll pardon an old saying, Bob, I'm a stranger here myself, but I've had a chance to look around, and I want to tell you right now, however, that this is as strange a military situation as you can imagine. There are some 16 soldiers on top of this building, all members of the Anti-Aircraft Artillery Command of the Eastern Defense Command. They work, eat, sleep, and play on this rooftop. They also wait, and believe me, they wait to fight, as do all the other gun sections in this gun battery and all others wherever they may be. Now, I won't be permitted to identify this particular gun section, but there are certain things I can say with safety. Section X of the Anti-Aircraft Artillery Command of the Eastern Defense Command is commanded by Lieutenant Harold Thomas. Right now, I'm standing in the day room of the barracks on this same rooftop. To my left is the room where the men sleep in double-decker bunks. Almost at my back is the entrance to the washrooms, and to my right is the open kitchen. And now for the business department of this rooftop military encampment. The purpose in life, yes, quite literally, the aim of the 16 men who live in this rooftop is the gun, which is located outside and a short distance away on a special platform. Lieutenant Thomas, pick it up from the gun, will you, and tell us what you can about your pride and joy. Over to Thomas.
Okay, Ben. We're standing right beside our 40-millimeter anti-aircraft gun, which, incidentally, can be operated either manually or by electrical control from a distance. This gun, as is in the case of most other anti-aircraft guns of this type, has a companion piece in a 50-caliber machine gun. Our companion machine gun is mounted on another tower, a short distance from this one and somewhat higher. Now, back to our pride and joy, the 40-millimeter gun. You can't fire it for a couple of very important reasons, the most obvious of which is this. To do so would betray the position of the gun, and that's a military secret. But we can give you a rough idea of how quickly things happen after the chief of section, Sergeant Rossi, says,
Target! Steady! Action! Fire!
That's approximately how it goes. And from that point out, this gun would be firing explosive shells at an overhead target at the rate of 60 rounds per minute, or 1 per second. Lieutenant Thomas to Ben Grauer. We're all coming back to the barracks now, Ben. Over to Ben Grauer.
Thanks very much, Lieutenant Thomas. Now, there's a young man standing beside me who had a great deal to do with making Christmas on a rooftop a happy one for the men of this gun section. And I'm going to let him speak for himself. Take over Mess Sergeant Andrew L. Henriksen.
Well, there isn't much to say, except that I prepared Christmas dinner at this gun position today.
Well, it's quite a mouthful, but tell us, mess sergeants don't usually serve as cooks, do they?
No, sir, I jump in and help out when I can.
Good. And when'd you jump in on this particular dinner?
It started last night. You know how it is? The turkey and pies and other things have to be prepared in advance.
You sound right. All mothers who cook today, please take notice. The Army does it the hard way, just like you. But, say, where are you from, Henriksen?
Shelby, Michigan.
Well, would you say that your dinner was as substantial as the kind mother might make out at Shelby?
I'll read the menu, Mr. Gar.
Okay.
Fruit cup, roast turkey with dressing and gravy, cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, buttered peas, corn, tomato and lettuce salad, celery, pickles, hot rolls, pumpkin pie, apples, grapes, candies and nuts, coffee, tea, and milk.
Is that all?
That's all.
Thank you, Sergeant. Well, the gun crew's just come back here in the barracks with us now, and I'd like to ask Chief of Section Sergeant Rossi a question or two. And by the way, this Sergeant Rossi, with only 2 years in the service, is a soldier's idea of a real soldier. He's got a way about him that gets things done.
Well, that's a little embarrassing, Mr. Gar.
So, what about your medal for being an outstanding example to comrades in arms?
Couldn't I report on something else?
On what, for instance?
Well, sir, in civilian life, I used to build the planes. I used to help get them up in the air. Now, on this rooftop with the others, I'm waiting to help bring them down.
Very good, Sergeant Rossi. And if they never come, you and your comrades in arms will have done your job. And now, fellows, what about that Christmas dinner just described? Did you enjoy it? Is there anything in particular you'd like to say to the world on a worldwide radio network? Yes, Lieutenant Thomas?
Yes, Ben. Permission to fire 8 words at the enemy from the men of my command.
8 words? Very well, Lieutenant Thomas. Fire.
You send them over, we'll let them down.
You are listening to NBC's Christmas Reunion, a program which illustrates our best by way of bringing our men and women of the armed forces home for Christmas. During the past half hour or so, we've been around quite a lot. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is only the beginning. Behind us are London and Alaska and Bethlehem and Miami. Ahead of us are Chungking and Guadalcanal, Algiers and Hollywood, and many another place.
Short fella, too.
That's our next stopping place. As a matter of fact, if you know your theme melodies, you already suspect we're going out there to meet Amos and Andy. As a matter of fact, we are. And a guest of theirs, a famous guest by the name of Jose Iturbi, who will speak for himself just as soon as we've made our station identification.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm going to play now the Scherzo in B flat minor by Chopin.
Tour. And now we cordially invite you to come along to the Mystic Nights of the Sea Lodge Hall in Harlem, the hangout of a group of gentlemen who I'm sure are very familiar to all of you. I refer, of course, to Amos and Andy. As we go into the lodge hall, we find Andy in the Kingfish in one of the offices discussing Andy's recent graduation from a correspondence school for piano playing. Let's listen in.
Put it there, Brother Andy, put it there. I want to congratulate you on graduating from the Correspondence School of Music.
Oh, yeah. Look at that diploma I got here with all the ribbons and the sealing wax on it.
Oh, yeah, that's a great diploma. Look at that thing. Oh, that's a important thing to have.
Yeah, well, of course, you know, Kingfish, you was seeing this diploma at its worst.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get me a frame for this thing. One with an open corner so the ribbon can hang down.
Yeah. Yeah, you ought to get a frame for it right away before the ribbon starts to get dirty and starts spazzing out on you. You know, Andy, the main thing in any observatory of music is to keep the diploma neat. A diploma is everything with the kind of work you in.
Yeah, sure. Maybe I ought to get it insured, huh?
Yeah, I'm really proud of you, Brother Andy. I'll put it there again.
Yeah.
You know...
you know something? You ought to have been at that graduation. I was a happy man.
Sure enough. Sorry I missed it, Brother Andy. Tell me this. Did you wear one of them square hats on your head with the black gown?
No. I graduated in my nightshirt.
In your nightshirt?
Yeah, that's how I was when the mailman rung the doorbell and handed me my diploma.
Oh, that ain't a very dignified way of getting graduated.
Well, the thing come at 7 o'clock in the morning. I didn't know they was going to graduate me special delivery.
Well, now, Brother Andy, this is all great thing you got here. Oh, it must be great to know everything there is about piano playing.
Oh, Kingfish, I really worked hard on that course. I studied all them lessons till I knows them all by heart.
Oh, you did, huh?
Yeah. Now I can hardly wait to get a piano so I can try it all out.
Excuse me, I don't want to appear full of ignorance or nothing like that, but my ear been acting up funny on me here lately. Did you say that you was a graduated piano player and you still ain't touched the piano?
Yeah, well, what's wrong with that? After all, you ain't got to be a baby to be a baby doctor.
No.
You ain't got to be dead to be no undertaker.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess I'm just a little old-fashioned. For some reason, I still like the piano player that plays the piano. I don't know why it is.
Oh, get away. That's just a waste of time. But you see, Kingfish, the reason I done took this course is so I can give piano lessons myself to other people.
Oh, I get it. You got a diploma there. Or that diploma is everything. In other words, you're going to teach the piano. You're going to be a teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
And I got a gold mine right here.
Now, look here, Brother Andy. Now, look here. Now, I as your pal, partner, dear.
Mm-hmm.
How about taking me in as your partner? Now, don't forget, I know a little about piano playing myself.
Yeah, well, that ain't a bad idea. All right, we'll work together.
Oh, that's great. You got a diploma and everything. That's great.
Yeah, this will be the highest class school in the world. Each one of us will be a specialist. I'll learn them the white keys, and you learn them the black keys.
Mr. Turvey, it sure is nice of you to come up here to the Lodge Hall and to say that you play for our New Year's charity fair. We all sure will appreciate it.
I will be only too happy to do it.
Oh, gee, that's nice, Mr. Turvey. It must be wonderful to be able to play a piano like you can, Mr. Turvey. By the way, this is the piano right here that we're going to use for the affair. Maybe you better sit down there a second and see if it's in tune and everything. You can adjust the stool.
All right, my friend. I'll try it.
How is it, Mr. Turvey?
Well, the piano's all right. The stool needs a little tuning.
Yeah, sir. Well, I'll get that fixed. Mr. Turvey, I'd like to have you meet a couple of our lodge members that's here at the Lodge Hall, and I know they'd like to meet you, too. Excuse me just a second. Lightning, come here a minute, will you, right away. Come here quick.
Did you want me for something, Miss Amos?
Lightning, go down the hall there and tell the Kingfish and Andy, they're in the second room there. Tell them that Mr. Turvey, the piano soloist, is here for them to come over.
Yeah, sir. All right, I tell them. Mr. Amos told me to tell them that Mr. Somebody is in here with a piano.
Yeah, this room ought to make us a great studio, all right. What you want, Lightning?
Excuse me, Mr. Andy, but Mr. Amos wants y'all to come across the hall and meet some fellow that's interested in piano playing.
Kingfish. Amos has got us a pupil.
Great. I tell you what, we ought to soak him double for the honor of being our first pupil.
Yeah. I'm going to have to charge him about $1.50, because maybe I ought to give Amos 25 cents for getting him for me.
Yeah, now look here. Don't forget to bring that diploma with you. That's everything now, Andy. Bring your diploma.
Oh, yeah. I don't want nothing to happen to that thing. Yeah, let's handle this diploma with care.
Now, look, there's a certain time that you pull the diploma out. There's a psychological minute there to do that, you see.
Yeah. Let me know when to flash that on him.
Yeah, I'll tell you when. I'll say to you, now is the time.
Yeah. Is my phone bow on straight here, Kingfish?
Yeah, you look great. Now, remember, Andy, we got to do a selling job when we gets in there. We'll tell him that if he pays attention to us and studies hard, someday he might be as good as Duke Ellington. Come in, fellas, come in. Mr. Turby, this is Mr. Brown, and Mr. Stevens, the Kingfish. How do you do?
Oh, glad to know you.
Us professors is pleased to meet you. I wanted you to have the pleasure of meeting the greatest piano player in the world.
Oh, Amos, stop putting it on. There's a lot of other piano players as good as I is.
No, you don't understand, Andy.
Who don't? Listen, Amos.
Excuse me, Mr. Amos. There's a phone call out here. You better take it.
Thank you, Lightning. Excuse me, Mr. Turby. Tell me this, Mr. Herbert.
Turby.
I mean, Mr. Turban. How did you happen to come up here?
Well, you see, I came to New York to go into Carnegie Hall.
That's enough. I can tell you now that you done made a smart move in deciding to switch over to us. You know, Mr. Wormby, them long-haired fellas down there don't know nothing about teaching the piano. Their hair gets in the eyes and they can't see the notes or nothing.
Yeah, half of those guys is playing in the cracks. You see, Mr. Turkey, the first rule that we got in our school is that all of us professors has got to keep their hair cut short.
Pardon me. Am I to understand that you are going to give me piano lessons?
Oh, yes, sir, Mr. Turmoil. Yes, sir. We can give you the beginners or the advanced.
But I have been playing the piano for 30 years.
Yeah, well, don't get undiscouraged. You'll get the knack of it all of a sudden. We'll learn you.
Now, we has had them worse than you is, you know.
Oh, yeah.
About the money. We has got several courses. We has got the $8 course that learns you in 6 weeks, or we has got the deluxe $10 course that will learn you in a month.
Well, I think I better take your quickest course because I'm playing with the New York Philharmonic Orchestra tomorrow night.
Oh, well, wait a minute. In that case, I better take off my coat and get busy here right away. Now, Coach, you know what a beautiful instrument the piano is.
Yes, I do. It is the instrument of the immortals.
Yeah, that's right. And they got to learn to play it the same as anybody else does.
Now, here is the instrument right over here. Step this way, Mr. Derby.
Yeah. Now, this here is called the piano. Now, the place where all these keys is here is what we call the dashboard.
Tell me, where is the self-starter on the dashboard?
Oh, you don't need a starter on a piano.
You thinking of the saxophone or something like that you blow in?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, well, now, sit down on the stool here. Now, the idea is to hit these keys right smack on the nose like this. Now, that note there, that's a white one. That's in your department.
Professor Brown is going to tell you that note is C.
Yes, that's C. D-E-F-G.
And then it goes right on. H-I-J-K-L-M-N-O.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, sir. Well, now, the main thing, Mr. Murky, is to keep your knuckles low. We teaches the knuckle down low system. Now, try hitting the keys.
And knuckles down?
You mean like this?
You see that, Kingfish? He learned already.
Yeah, well, that just go to show you, Mr. Turbin, that it appears to come to the best teachers. That phone call was for you, Mr. Turby. They want you to come down for a rehearsal at the New York Philharmonic.
Well, why didn't you tell him that he's busy taking a piano lesson?
You ain't trying to give Mr. Turby a piano lesson, is you, Andy?
Why, you think he's going to be too dumb to learn?
Oh, Mr. Turby happens to be one of the world's greatest piano players. He gets thousands of dollars for just one appearance. Why, he is one of the highest paid, most famous concert artists in the world.
He is, huh?
Yeah, Mr. Turby is going to play for our charity concert. And to tell you the truth, I was even ashamed to ask him if he would use this old piano here.
Oh, that's all right, my friend. I'm sure this piano will work out. Let me try it once more. Look at this. There was some oil or grease on the piano stool. Do you have something I can use to wipe it off my trousers?
Yes, sir, we sure do. And now is the time. Hand the man your diploma.
The boys of America are not the only ones who find themselves thousands of miles away from home this Christmas. On a U.S. Army air base near Hollywood, fighting sons of a great United Nations ally are spending their holidays over 7,000 miles away from their brave homeland to prepare themselves for further action in defense of their ideals and their families. In a moment, you will hear their voices, the voices of new militant China, singing two songs born of the blood and the spirit of a nation that could not and would not be conquered by all the might of the Japanese Empire.
We have just about 1 minute to go. Yes, I'll check if we'll have used time.
Well, let's go back to Hollywood now for those Chinese singers, please. Come in, Hollywood.
For the appearance of the chorus of Chinese air fighters, we wish to thank Colonel William Abbott Robertson, commanding officer.
In Chongqing, China, it's close to 2 o'clock tomorrow morning, and yet some of the officers of the China-Burma-India Command thought it would be nice to be eating their Christmas dinner, if not with, at least at the same time as the folks back home in these United States. I said right now is tomorrow morning to them. Only radio could make it today to us. And so, by radio, we journey a full half-turn around the world to the very heart of China, Chongqing.
I'm getting different things coming over there.
Inviting you to drop into the new enlisted men's day room at United States Army Headquarters out here on this Christmas Day, 1943. Sitting over by the stone fireplace at the far end of the room, killing a little time between Christmas dinner and the dance at the Victory House tonight, are 4 PIs we'd like you to meet. Sergeant Edward Healy of Watertown, Connecticut.
Another mouthful of goose in these clothes and mine wouldn't hold me.
Master Sergeant Murray Whitehead of Los Angeles, California.
It was a pie and ice cream and cake that got me. Apple and mincemeat pie.
Corporal Edward Chadish of Chicago.
Don't forget the trimmings, like green olives, pickles, and assorted candy.
And First Sergeant Martin Ross of the Bronx, New York City.
Yep, that was some Christmas dinner. Reminded me of home.
Me too. And the folks back home sure did right by me this year. You guys see that fruitcake for my sister?
We're just waiting for you to pass it around, Ed. Fruitcake is about the only thing we didn't have for dinner today. What I want to know is how did that 8-pound girl of mine spend her first Christmas?
Well, Sarge, since she's only about 3 weeks old, I doubt she'll hunt for stocking this year.
No, not this year, but she'll have one next Christmas. And who knows, maybe her dad will be home to help her play with the toys.
Wouldn't that be something? Christmas at home in Chicago, a good brisk win off Lake Michigan, and department store windows in the loop jammed full of things to buy.
I think it's home in the Bronx, and that's where I want to spend Christmas soon. Give me New York during the holidays anytime. Even the brownouts. They would look like a Christmas tree to me. Any time of the year.
Well, wherever we spend Christmas when we first get back to the States, we're sure going to hear a lot more carols than we do out here.
You're right about that. At home, you hear them everywhere. Over the radio, on the streets, in department stores.
We ought to get a bunch of fellas together at the party in the Victory House tonight and sing a few carols. Almost everyone knows Silent Night, the little town of Bethlehem.
You know, there's a nothing off the top of my head that isn't about Christmas at all. But it sure does remind me of home.
Well, Sarge, you don't have to sing carols at Christmas time.
No, any kind of singing goes during the holidays.
Especially if it reminds you of home. What is that song, Sarge? Anything you know?
Sure. Everybody knows George and Cohen songs, especially the one that's sticking in my mind right now. Let's give my regards to Broadway.
Sure, we remember that.
How does the tune go? Well, let's do a song right now. Let's sing now. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang on 42nd Street that I will soon be there.
That's it, Sarge.
Yep, and even to California. It sounds good out here in China.
That's as good as any carol going, Sarge. Let's hear it once, all the way through.
Okay, and what I like in voice, I'll make up in feeling. Here goes. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang on 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Come on, you guys. One more time and all join in. It's a New Yorker's Christmas carol. Ready? Let's go. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang on 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with the old-time throng. Give my regards to old Broadway and tell them I'll be there along.
This is Chungking, China, returning you to Robert St. John in New York.
And now for a Christmas reunion with Algiers, where Captain Andre Baruch and Sergeant George the Real McCoy are waiting for us, along with some of the correspondents of the Stars and Stripes, the Army's own great newspaper. It's all yours, Algiers, North Africa. It's all yours, Algiers, North Africa. Algiers, North Africa, we're waiting for you.
Season's greetings, everyone. This is Captain Andre Baruch speaking to you from Algiers, where the fighting men and women of the armed forces are gathered around the microphone on the sidewalks of North Africa to wish the folks back home a very Merry Christmas and the happiest of New Years. The sidewalks of North Africa, sponsored by the North African edition of Stars and Stripes, is a radio favorite of your sons and daughters over here and brings you the news and views of that yank about town, Sergeant Dick Bruner of Philadelphia, and the intimate sidewalk interviews of Sergeant George the Real McCoy of New York City. And now, as I dismount from my sagging camel and fire to the old hitching post, I see none other than Sergeant George the Real McCoy making haste to the microphone, pursued by an irate rug dealer. All right, boys, let him through, let him through.
Hey, Johnny, find the rug from World's Fair. Very cheap, only 500 francs. Imshi, Mohammed, Imshi. I don't want to buy a rug. I was just trying to find my way out of the Casbah. Is there anybody here from out of town?
I am.
Yeah, what town?
Denison, Texas.
And what's your name?
Sergeant John Cliff.
Well, what did you get for Santa Claus? What did Santa Claus give you for Christmas, man?
Oh, I got beaucoup presents. The most unusual gift was a dozen golf balls.
What, no golf clubs?
Oh, the golf clubs don't bother me. My problem is to find a golf course.
Oh, then it's a case of the missing link.
I guess that's right.
That's call for the course, brother. It's been a pleasure.
Ah, yes, it is a beautiful day and everybody is happy. But I, Pepe Le Moco, am not happy. Without Eddie Lamar, I am desolate. Have you seen Eddie Lamar, monsieur?
She ain't here, Charlie. You'll find her down on the boulevard of broken dreams in the Casbah.
Thank you, monsieur. Just as you go.
Who's next? Who's next, Captain Baruch?
Well, I've got a sailor here. Sea legs and all, and his name is Robert Christian, yeoman second class. Hails from Dixie.
Well, ship ahoy, sailor. What part of Dixie are you from, Bob?
Oh, a little place called Tate, Georgia.
What was your racket? I mean, what did you do back home?
I just finished high school and got the itch to travel, so I joined the Navy.
Say, did you get many presents from home?
Did mighty fine, I reckon. I got 12 packages.
Did you open any of them before Christmas?
Well, I must confess, I opened all but one, which I saved for this morning.
Oh, you're the curious type. Say, how long you been in the Navy?
Well, a little more than a year, I reckon.
Say, tell me, did you ever get hit by a big wave?
No, I only go out with wax.
That's right, brother, that's all. That was Robert Christian, yeoman second class, with a first-class answer. Who's next, Captain Baruch?
Sergeant, it's time to leave the sidewalks of North Africa for a little tete-a-tete with that yank about town, Sergeant Dick Bruner. Well, Dick, what's new along the Rue?
Greetings, everyone. This is your Stars and Stripes yank about town. From Casablanca to Tunis and from the Casbah to Rue Michelet in Algiers, Christmas arrived early in North Africa. This was due to the thousands of Christmas packages that arrived over here from the States and were opened way ahead of schedule. Another item that brought on an early holiday season was the number of parties and benefits tossed by the Yanks for needy French children. Practically every unit over here had saved its PX rations and even candy received from home to bring a bit of sunshine into the hearts of some small girl or boy. And all over town, gaily decorated Christmas trees made their appearance. One local ordnance unit has a tree with tinsel cut from the propeller of a Yonkers 88. A publications office has decorated its tree with packages and cards labeled from Mom, Pop, and Sis. WAC P5 Ornette Staniland of Wilmington, North Carolina, spent her day off this week by decorating her office tree with lifesaver wrappers for color, cigarette package cellophane for tinsel, and mattress covers for a snow base. All day today, American soldiers, both male and female, were spotted strolling along Rue Michelet, where most of the finer stores are located, window shopping, just like they used to do on Fifth Avenue in New York City and Chestnut Street in Philly. Also in town for the holidays are baseball star Lefty Gomez, former world heavyweight boxing champ Jack Sharkey, PGA lad Fred Kokorin, and film star and Army Lieutenant John Cow. Incidentally, one of the most popular Christmas presents received over here were yo-yos, which must have been the Bob Hope influence. 3 lads we know of who received yo-yos are Staff Sergeant Heyman of New York City, Sergeant Russell Woodward of Kansas City, and Private Elliot Full of Chicago. It's been quite a festive week, and to top off the holiday season, the all-soldier wax show Swing Sister Wax Swing will open at the Opera House on January the 3rd. This is your Stars and Stripes yank about town, Sergeant Dick Bruner saying, Merry Christmas to all of you over there, from all of us over here, and returning you to the sidewalks of North Africa and the real McCoy.
Thank you, thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a Merry Christmas to you all. It's Town Hall tonight.
Listen, Fred, you're in the wrong shed. Who's next, Captain Baruch?
A wisp of a whack, and she's pretty as a picture.
Oh, she's got a nice frame, too. What's your name, dear, and where do you come from?
Corporal Peggy Reynolds, and I was born in Alberg, Vermont.
And what did you get in your stocking for Christmas?
I got him.
Oh, that's interesting. What are you going to do with him?
I'm going to marry him on New Year's Eve.
Well, introduce me.
Oh, here's that I love him soldier of mine, Corporal Bill Patterson.
Well, congratulations, Bill. Say, Bill, this is an educational program, you know. Tell me, what's it like to be in love?
I don't know. It's awful hard to explain. It's just something that breaks out all over you all of a sudden.
All of a sudden. Say, what about the honeymoon?
We're going to have a 7-day honeymoon.
Well, that's fine. Where did boy meet girl?
Right here in Algiers, at a museum.
In the Wax Museum?
Well, no, not exactly.
Bill, tell me, where did you propose? In the very spot where I met her, on the bench in the museum. I can see you waxed eloquent. By the way, Bill, where do you come from in the States? Des Moines, Iowa. Now, look, you live in Des Moines, in Iowa. Peggy lives in Vermont. Where are you going to live after the war?
We're going to settle down in the quaint old homestead in New York City.
Why is everybody so happy? What's the cause of all the mirth? Next thing you know, they'll be saying Merry Christmas.
And a Merry Christmas to you. Hey, listen, brother, what's going on here? I know you're not Boyer or Allen or Sparks. Who are you?
I'm Private Sandsack.
Well, you'll be a so-and-so, brother, if you don't tell me quick. Now, look, the MPs are coming around the corner. What's your name?
Well, seeing you put it that way, Sarge, it's Staff Sergeant Danny Webb. I come from Hollywood, California.
Well, what did you get for Christmas?
Quite a lot of things, but the best of all were the laughs from the GIs I've been entertaining overseas for the last year.
Well, thanks a lot, Sergeant Danny Webb. And who's next, Captain Baruch?
Well, here's a soldier who's got more stripes on his arm than a zebra. Looks like a fugitive from the El Morocco Club. But he got his stripes the hard way in the real Morocco. His name is Master Sergeant Irving Levinson, and he hails from Stamford, Connecticut.
Well, step up, Sarge. How are you? Where did you go for Christmas?
I got $1,000 from Uncle Sam. I won it in a war bond raffle.
Well, congratulations. And what are you going to do with it?
What a honeymoon me and the girlfriend are going to have.
Hey, did Santa Claus give you anything special?
Sure thing. My sister sent me a box of dehydrated borscht.
Dehydrated borscht. Are you going to say that for your honeymoon, too? Never mind, brother. It's been a pleasure. And so the hourglass runs low, and as the midnight sun sinks over the can of dehydrated borscht, we say farewell to the picturesque sidewalks of North Africa.
Hey, Johnny, you like to buy prime rug from Wells Fair? Only $2.50 francs.
Imshi, Mohammed, Imshi.
Thank you, Sergeant. You have been listening to the Sidewalks of North Africa, featuring the interviews of Sergeant George the Real McCoy and the news and views of that yank about town, Sergeant Dick Bruner. And so, this is Captain Andre Baruch, wishing you a happy holiday on behalf of your sons and daughters overseas, who, though far from home this Christmas, know that they have a job to do so that someday all the world may truly know the meaning of Merry Christmas. And now to Robert St. John in New York.
If on this Christmas Day you had the right to one great wish, what would it be?
It would be 2 wishes in one, the second dependent upon the first. I would wish that there could be peace on earth. I would wish that all who are separated this day because of the war could be reunited.
Christmas Reunion.
This is Robert St. John, and this is a program called Christmas Reunion, brought to you by the National Broadcasting Company. It's going to be a long program because we've got many places to go, all around the world, as a matter of fact, bringing us civilians to our men in arms, and our men in arms to us civilians. There'll be professional entertainment from Hollywood and New York. There'll be GI entertainment from Chongqing in Miami, from Guadalcanal in Iceland. We wish we could make a wish come true. Doing the next best, we are grateful to be able to present NBC's Christmas Reunion. In London, England, just 100 years ago, a new story was heard for the first time. It was Charles Dickens' deathless work, A Christmas Carol. The crippled hero, Tiny Tim, cried, "God bless us, everyone." Well, God bless us, everyone, in this Christmas reunion with London, England.
speaking from a chapel in the Church of the Nativity, a few feet from the spot where Jesus Christ was born. Night has long since fallen, but for the first time since the war began, lights twinkle round about among the Judean hills. The blackout has been lifted for Christmas. I have seen the golden splendor of the sacred shrines, the grotto visited by the wise men of the East. But just now I'm looking out on a church full of men and women who are your sons, your brothers, your husbands, your sisters and daughters. The choir you hear is an American Army choir, organized and led by Army chaplains. The organist who is playing now is an American soldier. The rest, the officers and men, Red Cross girls and nurses, have come to the Holy Land to spend Christmas as guests of the American Red Cross. They are now taking part in this program which joins across so many miles our soldiers overseas here at the birthplace of our Savior, with you, the loved ones to whom their hearts turn as you sit beside the many firesides in our own great nation. For here in Bethlehem today is born anew the hope of peace and the things of peace. For this is Christmas.
I think they will, Sergeant. It's being broadcast. I hope so anyway. I hope so, too. That song is my mother's favorite carol, and I sure hope she heard it. My mother and Dad always liked that one, too. I can remember one Christmas I was driving home just on Christmas Eve. The house and lawn and trees and everything had snow on them. It was cold and sort of bright. I just swung the car into the drive when I heard the family singing, and that's what it was. I could just hear it across the snow. My family used to sing carols, too. I guess most Americans do. But I don't think I ever appreciated them as much as I do now. No, this is something not many of us get to do. This is really where Christmas comes from. I think I realized that when they showed me the red and yellow globes, just like the ones we hang on trees at home. But these are the ones that hang over the ancient church place, and they mean that Christ is the light of the world. The candles in the altars made me think of the ones that we used to put in our windows at home. They do, but sometimes I can hardly believe I've come from America ever. It seems like I'm two persons. One just an ordinary American guy, and the other somebody who lives in a different world. These soldiers here in this dim light, with candles and all, might as well be crusaders, and I one of them. The quiet of the church, and organ and all, time doesn't seem to mean much here, or wars. Why, if Sir Lancelot were to walk through that door right now, I wouldn't be surprised. I have sort of a strange feeling, too. Sort of lifted up, I guess. And I don't feel like I'd ever seen Nebraska or New York. Yet, I keep thinking of home, too. Just like you said, Lieutenant, as if I was two guys. You know, Sergeant, there's something about a church like this. You see the American uniforms here now, and the choir looks GI enough. And yet I keep thinking there are a lot of other people here, all the millions of people who have come to see where Christ was born, and stayed in the church and thought the same things we are thinking. Maybe it's the silence now in between the music. Here, even when you talk, it's silent. Maybe we're not the only ones talking. Maybe we're not the only ones singing. I don't know, really. That's the way it went. She had the sweetest voice, and her eyes were moist and bright. Sorry, Sergeant. I forgot where I was. We're talking in church, aren't we? Guess we'd better shut up and listen. In behalf of the men and women serving with the United States Army Forces in the Middle East, we present our commanding general, Major General Ralph Royce.
I have never felt my responsibilities as a commanding general so deeply as tonight, because I am speaking for my men. I know that every one of them would like to be here in my place, telling you how much he misses you, how much he is thinking of home as the Christmas tide rolls by. For them, I wish you, each one of you, a full measure of Christmas joy, and with them sound the hope of reunion with you before again we have the opportunity to say Merry Christmas.
God bless you all, and a Merry Christmas from Bethlehem.
And now, Mrs. Van Kutren, if you're ready.
Thank you very much, Mr. St. John. But I think you've done just about enough, and I ought to be able to do a little something for myself.
Well, all right then.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Emma Van Kutren. This is a very wonderful Christmas reunion for me, because the National Broadcasting Company has made it possible for me to speak with a few of my 10 children now in the services of their government. They've put their engineers and all facilities practically at my command. And believe me, I'm not going to be bashful. First, I'm going to call a daughter of mine a dean. A dean is a private first class of the Women's Army Corps stationed at Allied Force Headquarters in North Africa. A dean, it's going to be a grand thrill if I can hear your voice. Can you hear me, Adine Van Kutren, in North Africa?
I can hear you perfectly. Where are you, Mom? Mom, are you there?
Yes. I'm in New York, Adine.
Radio City?
Yes. Right here in Radio City. That's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Well, of course it is. What I mean, would you have ever thought we'd be talking to each other on Christmas Day, Adine?
It's the same answer. I think it's wonderful. Ma'am, are you still working at Lansing's Five and Dime?
Oh, harder than ever, but it's lots of fun, Adine. I made most of the Christmas decorations for the entire store this year. But, Adine, how are you? And how are you feeling?
I've been feeling fine, Mom. What do you have from Helen?
Oh, she's still stationed at Conway, Arkansas. And I'm going to talk to her in a few minutes, too.
Oh, wish her Merry Christmas and say thanks for everything and ask her when she's coming over.
Well, Adine, if she had her way, she'd be over there with you right now.
I know that. How are the boys?
Well, there isn't time to talk about all of them, honey. But they're well. I've got to say goodbye now.
All right, Mom. Please write soon.
I will, Nadine. All my love, and give my regards to the Sphinx. Now, another daughter of mine is Private Helen Van Coutren of the Women's Army Corps. She's stationed at the WAC Administration School in Conway, Arkansas. And I hope she's waiting in Little Rock now and able to talk with me. Are you ready, Helen?
You bet I am. Hello, Mom.
Oh, that's grand, Helen. How are you?
Oh, I couldn't be better, honest to goodness, Mom.
Oh, I know it. I can tell by the look on that picture that you sent me that you're happy and contented.
Doesn't it look 100%?
Oh, it does. It's just grand. And I want you to know, Helen, I'm not alone today. I have a reader with me.
Oh, Mom, isn't that wonderful?
It is. It's just grand, Helen.
You tell her she's the luckiest one of the whole 10.
Oh, well, all right. We're happy and contented, and I'm glad you are.
Oh,
so,
it's just been grand, Mom.
All right, Helen, goodbye now. And maybe
Good luck,
next
Mom.
year
I love you.
I know you do. We'll have a real Christmas next year.
Thank you, Mom.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Ever hear of an aguinaldo? Well, it's a Puerto Rican festival song, and some of our soldiers in San Juan have formed their own aguinaldo groups, especially for NBC's Christmas reunion. Let's hear what a GI aguinaldo sounds like. San Juan, Puerto Rico.
This is San Juan, Puerto Rico. For music, a traditional native aguinaldo. Here in the Caribbean on this Christmas Day, Puerto Rican boys whose language and customs derive from old Spain stand shoulder to shoulder with English-speaking lads from the mainland in defense of America's shores. In their camps today, these Puerto Rican boys sing their own Christmas carols, their aguinaldos, perhaps the oldest Christmas music of the New World. The Spanish word aguinaldo means Christmas present. The songs are the beloved melodies handed down from generation to generation and sung from time immemorial by strolling native musicians in quest of gifts. Listen now as Corporal Manuel Taron Heath, to the accompaniment of native guitars, cuatros, and guicharos of soldier musicians from Fort Buchanan, sings Puerto Rico's own song of Christmas, El Aguinaldo de Navidad.
Ya sale la aurora entre las dos luces, desterrando sombras y negros capuces. Oh, brillante estrella que anuncia la aurora, no nos falte nunca tu luz viene y llora. Oh, brillante estrella que anuncia la aurora, no nos falte nunca tu luz viene y llora. Camina la Virgen con José su esposo, pues se acerca el tiempo del parto precioso. Oh, brillante estrella que anuncia la aurora, no nos falte nunca tu luz viene que llora. Oh, brillante estrella que anuncia la aurora, no nos falte nunca tu luz viene que llora. De su casa sale la Virgen María, por orden del cielo a Belén camina. Oh, brillante estrella que anuncia la aurora, no nos falte nunca tu luz viene que llora. Oh, brillante estrella que anuncia la aurora, no nos falte nunca tu luz viene que llora.
And so you have heard from Puerto Rico, her soldiers, and her age-old music of the Christmas season. This is Herwood Hull Jr. in Puerto Rico, returning you now to Robert St. John in New York.
Cheek to cheek? No, feet to feet. And I'm not fooling unless atmospheric conditions upset our plans, for this is what we now propose to do. A soldier is standing at a microphone in Algiers in North Africa, and he's waiting to talk to another soldier at a microphone in Guadalcanal in the South Pacific Ocean. They're at exactly opposite points on the Earth's surface, or nearly so. So far as either one is concerned, the other is upside down, soul to soul, with only the whole wide world in between. Now, that's what I call a Christmas reunion. Come in, Algiers and Guadalcanal, feet to feet.
This is Algiers, North Africa. Private Paul Kearney calling Guadalcanal.
This is Guadalcanal from the Solomon Islands of the South Pacific Ocean. Technical Sergeant Theodore Conard of Army Airways Communications speaking. Speaking, answering Algiers.
While standing on your head, as Bob St. John just said.
Well, that's the old school days wonder. Anybody back home who wants to take a globe and locate you in Algiers and me here in Guadalcanal can see that it's true.
Find it hard to talk in that position?
Now, Algiers, you know perfectly well that I'm perfectly right side up in my own surroundings.
Of course, that's true, Guadalcanal. We're standing, however, at almost exactly opposite points on the face of this earth. It's kind of funny to think about it. Merry Christmas, feet to feet.
Yeah, like a couple of acrobats. Anyway, Algiers, you are a little late with your Christmas wishes. To me, except in spirit. Down here on Guadalcanal, it's almost 6:30 in the morning. On December 26th, it's still Christmas Day for you, isn't it?
Yes, here in Algiers, it's nearly 8:30 in the evening of December 26th. So there's still plenty of Christmas remaining in North Africa as we sit here looking out at the snow.
Snow? What do you mean, snow? You haven't any more snow upstairs than we've got down here on Guadalcanal.
Listen, soldier, we both dream, can't we?
Matter of fact, Guadalcanal, it's after Reveille.
Oh, and good morning, Guadalcanal.
Good night, Algiers, and Merry Christmas.
We pause for station identification. Remember the cardboard boxes you mailed a couple of months ago? Little cardboard boxes containing little things because Uncle Sam said there wouldn't be room or time for big boxes? Well, those boxes were Christmas to a lot of our boys and girls today, and their size didn't matter because of the unseen things you put into them. All of the love and devotion, all of the faith and hope in the world. In case you haven't heard from the one to whom you sent your cardboard box, this is to say to you that yours got there safely. The United States Navy guarded it every nautical mile along the way. And now we're off to Italy for a Christmas reunion, a real family reunion, too, as you'll see. You've been hearing about these family reunions in Italy. What we're about to hear is just such a family reunion. It happened in Naples, Italy.
Francesco ci ascolterà. E poi, anche se lo facesse, pensi che se andrà agli Stati Uniti è morto. Non preoccuparti, mamma. Poi mi ha detto che il signor Luanda, che era poco zio Francesco, che ascoltava la radio oggi al pomeriggio.
Sì, credo che siamo quasi pronti. Prego. Grazie. Here in Naples, it is 8:30 Christmas night. Most of the men of the armed services in Italy have had their Christmas dinners and are sitting around talking about the dinners they have known back home when they were with their families. A few lucky soldiers with relatives in Italy have had their Christmas dinners a bit more homelike. One of these lucky soldiers is Anthony Bolano, who lives at 141 Hobson Street, Newark, New Jersey. And he, like anyone named Anthony, is known as Tony. I envy you, Tony, being with members of your family on Christmas Day.
I got a big kick out of being with my aunt, my cousin, and her husband. It's not like being back home with my father and mother. Naples was never like Newark and never will be. I had a darn good dinner. Sì, Nicolino, che vuoi che la cosa vuoi utilizzare per il dessert? Vuoi diritto una cosa di sangue maiale?
Che non è una cosa fino assai. Ci chiamo sanguinaccio. È la prima volta che lo abbiamo dopo 4 anni. È fatto con cioccolato, frutta candita, latte e sangue di maiale. Qui è una ricettezza. E noi non lo proviamo da 4 anni. Poi, non trovo che era buono.
What was this about horse blood?
I asked her what the dessert was she had for dinner. It's called sanguinaccio, and it's made of chocolate, chopped dried fruit, milk, and pork blood. It's a real delicacy over here, and they haven't had it in 4 years. I didn't care much for it myself. I kept thinking of the pork blood.
Yes, I can see your point. Kind of a mind-over-matter proposition, I think. Just how much pork blood do you use in this concoction, and why?
Signor Howard, quando a sangue utilizzato in dessert, e perché ho utilizzato?
Io ci metto poche cose, come il 15%. E poi si capisce che viene più consistente. No, mamma, io ci ho messo il 10%.
Avreste potuto usare anche meno cioccolato per farlo durare di più.
Ma Carlo, non avevamo abbastanza farina per fare il dolce. E poi, però, Tony oggi, ed è stato fatto in suo onore. Non ti è piaciuto sanguinaccio, Tony?
Sì, era molto buono. There was a bit of an argument as to how much blood they used. The final decision is 10%. My aunt says it makes the chocolate rich and creamy.
Well, I can see that Carl is a little bit anxious about using up all the chocolate. Doesn't he like this so-called delicacy?
Yes, Carl likes it all right, but he thinks my aunt should have made the chocolate last longer. It was given to them by some soldiers who were buried nearby. We've been usando tutto il cioccolato, Maria.
Quasi tutto. Perché non invitiamo il signore da casa per fargli assaggiare il sanguinaccio? Io sono sicuro che gli piacerà.
Sì, invitalo. Sono sicuro che non ha mai mangiato una cosa simile. Gli deve piacere, anche se gli americani preferiscono il cioccolato in altro modo.
Yeah, I asked you to have some sanguinaccio. Carlos says he doesn't think you've had the taste of it.
Well, Carlos is correct in that assumption. But let's get off the subject. What else did you have for Christmas dinner? Did you have spaghetti?
Che dice? Che vuole provare il sanguinaccio? E come?
Sì, I think they will Bruin. I told my aunt she would be glad to try some sanguinaccio.
You did? Well, later perhaps. So what about the rest of the menu? How do we get away from sanguinaccio?
We started off with Christmas dinner, lamb pasta, then we had ravioli.
Tony, ci sono i ravioli a New York? Certamente che ci saranno i ravioli a New York, non è vero, Tony?
Sì, abbiamo assai ravioli all'America.
Tony, your cousin seems a bit worried as to whether or not we have ravioli in the States. She must want to come to America after the war.
Yes, well, she and her husband want to get to the States when the war is over. It seems to me that every Italian I've met immediately wants to go to the United States when the war is over.
Io mi piango tutto il cioccolato che se n'è andato per quel sanguinaccio.
Carl is still worrying about the chocolate and sanguinaccio. He wanted a cake. I go for a chocolate cake myself. I wonder if my aunt ever makes cakes. Sì, Nicolini, we about my old dose.
E come, Tony? Dolce buono assai, come tutto voi in America, very good. Ma adesso è tempo di guerra, la farina è stanca. Ma dopo la guerra, Carmela, ritorna, te farò mangiare dolce, sa, come quello che ti sei mamma tua.
My aunt says she doesn't have enough flour for pastry. But she says that if I ever come back after the war, she'll bake me a cake like my mother makes. Brother, when this war is over,
I'm going home and let my mother take my cakes. We return you now to Robert St. John in New York.
A lot of guys were wrong. A lot of guys were wrong when they looked at one another a couple of years ago and said, "Women soldiers, what a laugh, what a laugh." Well, you can smile a crooked smile today, gentlemen, for the whack is a soldier too, and she who laughs last laughs best. Only the girls aren't wasting any time on last laughs. No, gentlemen, the Women's Army Corps is too busy. You'll find them here and you'll find them overseas on the job. We find the whacks today down in Chattanooga, Tennessee at Fort Oglethorpe. There's a whack choir waiting for us down there, a choir which insists vocally and correctly that the whack is a soldier too. From Palestine, halfway around the earth, a small dot in the vast Pacific Ocean is Honolulu in the Hawaiian Islands. Now, Honolulu is just about as far to the far west as we can go without being east of ourselves again, which perhaps is sufficient reason why there should be an orchestra out there called Mickey Walker's Mustangs. Well, we don't happen to know the outfit, but we do know that Claude Thornhill is featured at the piano. So here's to a Christmas reunion with Mickey Walker's Mustangs in Honolulu.
Here's a Merry Christmas to the rest of the world from the Navy in Hawaii. On December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor took it from the Japs. Now Pearl Harbor is dishing it out and plenty. It's the Navy's way of making Christmas worth living for and America worth fighting for. Ask the Japs, they know. Now in a musical greeting, Chief Musician Mickey Walker and his Mustangs play for you with meaning, Lady Be Good. Claude Thornhill's at the piano.
The ladies of the United States Coast Guard are not to be framed in neglect. Yes, I mean the spars. And up from New Orleans comes the voice of Yeoman Tony Bargetts to prove it. Yeoman Bargetts used to be with Bob Crosby's orchestra, and today she's holding up the honor of the spars with a song of her own selection, Sand in My Shoes. All right, Yeoman Tony Bargetts in New Orleans.
Sand in my shoes, sand from Havana, calling me back to that ever so heavenly shore, calling me back to you once more. Dreams in the night, dreams of Havana, dreams of a love I haven't the strength to refuse. Darling, the sand is in my shoes. Deep in my veins, the sinuous strains of the soft guitar. Deep in my soul, the thundering roll of a tropic sea. Under the that was Havana. You are the moonlit memory I can't seem to lose. That's why my life's an aimless cruise. All that is real is the feel of the sand in my shoes. Deep in my veins, the sinuous strains of the soft guitar. Deep in my soul, the thundering roll of a tropic sea. Under the stars, that was Havana. You are the moonlit memory I can't seem to lose. That's why my life an aimless cruise. All that is real is the feel of the sand in my shoes.
And now back to Robert St. John in New York.
Washington in the District of Columbia. It's the capital of this nation. And these days, in many respects, it's the capital of the whole wide world. In Washington, even more than on the actual battlefronts, perhaps, it has to be business as usual on this Christmas Day. I think you'll be proud to know why. Let Washington, D.C. tell you why.
This is the War Department Signal Center, somewhere in Washington. Control station in the vast network of wire and radio circuits operated by the Army Signal Corps. We're in the operating room, which is roughly the size of a football field and looks like a cross between a factory and the master control room of a radio station. And that jumbled sound you hear comes from teleprinter machines sending and receiving messages from installations all over this country and a bank of machines handling radio messages from overseas, wherever our men are working and fighting. Here's Captain Sparks, officer in charge. Captain Sparks, this is a pretty busy place for Christmas Day.
Christmas is just another day as far as our operation is concerned. The Signal Center never closes. More than 4 million words, very important words, pass through here every day. It's nearly all Army business, although we handle messages for the State Department and other government agencies.
I found it pretty hard to get in here, Captain. This must be considered a rather important place.
You'll find it just as hard to get out. Yes, it is important, because this is the nerve center of Army's communication system. If we stopped working here for a minute, somewhere a tank wouldn't run, a plane couldn't fly, a lot of important things might not happen. We can't stop working because there are no holidays when you're carrying a gun. So these machines must be manned every minute and continue to pound out their messages.
Oh, incidentally, I noticed that a lot of these machines in the radio section have a paper tape running through them. Looks something like a stock ticker. Are those radio messages?
Yes, it works this way. An operator at a machine in, let's say, Cairo, punches out a tape message. This tape is run through another machine, which sends out electrical impulses based on the perforations in the tape. The signals are picked up here on another machine, which reproduces a tape just like the original one. The tape is then translated into letters. By using tape, we reduce the possibility of human error and increase the speed of transmission.
Well, say, that machine there seems to have gone haywire. I can't make any sense out of those words.
No, it hasn't. That message is in code, as are a great many of our messages.
Where is this machine receiving from?
This is from Cairo.
And this one?
Panama. And that one over there is from Algiers, and this one from London.
Well, I noticed that all these machines are in use, except those three on the end there. What are they, spares?
Well, no, not exactly. We hope to be using those very soon. Read the signs on them.
I get it. Reserved. Rome, Berlin, Tokyo.
Ladies and gentlemen, a little less than half an hour ago, you heard Mrs. Emma Van Kootren, with 10 children in the armed services, talking with a daughter in North Africa and another in Arkansas, both in the Women's Army Corps. Well, we thought it was such a good idea that we'd let Mrs. Van Kootren carry on, this time talking with 3 of her sons. Are you ready, Mrs. Van Kootren?
Oh, yes, I am, Mr. St. John, and thank you.
All right, then, first to Victor Van Kootren. Victor is a seaman second class, and he's stationed at the Naval Reserve Aviation Base at Lambert Field, St. Louis. Victor, if you're ready there in St. Louis, speak up.
Here I am.
Well, hello, Victor. My goodness. Oh, I'm fine.
That's swell.
You sound like Red Skelton when he says, hello, bub. You're no baby anymore.
I don't know about that.
No. Well, how are you, son?
I'm just fine, Mom. How are you?
Well, that's good. Well, I never felt better, and I'm so happy today that I can speak to some of you.
That's really swell, isn't it?
Well, write to me now real soon, son.
I will, Mom.
All right?
God bless you. I love you.
Oh, I know you do. Take care of yourself, and I'm praying that we'll all be together soon someday.
That's for sure, Mom.
Okie doke.
Well, where now, Mrs. Van Kootren?
Well, now I'd like to talk to Joseph. He's an electrician's mate, first class, stationed at Naval's operating base in San Pedro, California. Can you hear me, Joseph?
Hello, Mom.
Oh, hello there, way down in California.
Merry Christmas to you.
Well, thank you, son. The same to you. Did the stork beat Santa Claus?
Yes, he did.
Oh, he did? Oh, well, what have you?
Another little boy.
Oh, that's swell. The Navy needs him, you know.
Well.
And how's Alma?
Fine, Mom.
Oh, that's fine. Well, give her my love.
I sure will.
And if you see Mickey Rooney down there, give him my love, too, will you?
And now to Kansas City, eh?
Well, that's wonderful. My Thomas is there in the cavalry. Hello, Thomas in Kansas City. How are you?
Merry Christmas, sweetheart.
Oh, my, that sounds good. That sounds good.
How are you, Mom?
I'm fine, and how are you?
That's wonderful. I never felt better.
Oh, that's grand. And our congratulations in order?
Well, I hope so.
Oh, that's grand. I'm glad. And how is Ginger?
I'll be catching a train out of here in about an hour and give her my personal Christmas greeting.
Well, that's fine. And give her mine, too, son.
I'll do that, Mom. You sure you're all right?
I'm swell. I'm just
don't forget
fine.
we've made a date, and we don't intend to stand you up, Mom.
Oh, that's swell, thanks.
That's open 44. We can fill it.
Take
How
care.
about that?
All right. Take care of yourself, son.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Emma Van Kootren, mother of 10, all in the service of their country. These days, when we think of the United States Marine Corps, we think of Guadalcanal or Tarawa. But the Marines have always been a fighting bunch, as the record clearly shows. Out in San Diego, California right now, there's a band standing by, waiting to remind us of the record with the Fighting Marine Corps hymn. Let's hear it, San Diego. Ladies and gentlemen, there's an American outpost in Iceland, that little island whose northern tip just grazes the Arctic Circle. Iceland lies far to the north, in the cold Atlantic, where Greenland and Norway meet. Its civilization is very old, and it claims, as you know, the oldest parliamentary form of government in the whole world. Iceland has a language of its own, and medieval music of its own. And it's to hear some of that folk music, that medieval music, sung by our own soldiers, that we take you in just a few seconds for a Christmas reunion in far-off Reykjavik, Iceland.
Hello, New York. This is Reykjavik, Iceland. The date is December 25th. The time is 6:53. We bring you now a chorus of American Army and the Navy personnel of Icelandic descent, singing two traditional Icelandic holiday songs from the Middle Ages. The chorus is under the direction of Sergeant Ragnar H. Ragnar of Mountain, North Dakota. The songs are Víst ertu Jesus, hungur klár, and Góða veislu gjöra skal. Reykjavik, Iceland, returning you now to Robert St. John in New York.
Here at NBC, we are doing the best we know how to bring the boys home for Christmas in a program we call Christmas Reunion. We hope you've enjoyed what you've heard during the past 2 hours. In the hour just ahead, there are many more exciting things to come, and I'll tell you a little about them immediately after station identification. And this is Robert St. John. And our Christmas reunion continues now with visits to Hollywood and Stockholm. The next hour will bring you a wounded soldier fighting his way to recovery in order to get back and fight. Some original music written by American prisoners of war, and a brief performance by the NBC Symphony Orchestra under the baton of Dr. Leopold Stokowski. But now, continuing our Christmas reunion program from New York, we bring you a story by the lady who made the wish.
I would like you to imagine that I am Martha Summers, a British newspaper woman visiting this country. She has a story to tell you, and this is how it goes. It was a Saturday afternoon at the Savoy in London. I had come down from Manchester to do a piece on General Borden, now in supreme command of the British forces in a certain area. The young American staff sergeant first caught my attention as we entered the cocktail lounge, perhaps because he was alone. The only other chair at his table held his carefully placed overcoat and cap, and because it happened to be in the way as we seated ourselves, our waiter quickly and silently moved that chair to the other side of the American sergeant's table. I noticed that he had finished his lonely snack and was sipping a brandy. And then my thoughts returned to my own party. There were 6 of us, 3 subalterns, oh, so anxious to please the great man to whom they had been assigned as junior staff officers. A major, not quite so obvious in his anxiety, and the great General Borden himself, terrifyingly impressive in his Bond Street uniform and heavy gold braid. But the general would have been equally impressive in coveralls, I thought to myself as we ordered cocktails. There was a calculating hardness about those handsome blue eyes which told you things instantly about the brain behind them. It would be logical in the face of any storm. It would be reasonable, and always completely unaffected by emotion of any sort. This was the man who would certainly become the world's greatest modern military leader. This was the man I had been sent down to London to interview. Truly a man of steel. We talked at some length until I had completed my notes. Then the conversation took a more casual tone. Only then did I become conscious of the music. Only then did I again become aware of the American staff sergeant, whose silver wings I could see now as he had turned a little to listen. The pianist was playing something of George Gershwin's, whom I had always admired. And as I, too, listened, I watched the young American's face. He stared straight before him, his mind called home, perhaps, by the sound of a familiar melody. The song was ended, and the American stood up, placing a few coins on the table. Then he turned and reached down to where his overcoat and cap had been before we arrived. He groped, then again, and almost fell. Surely, I thought, the boy can see that the chair has been... And suddenly, I knew that he was blind. So did everyone else in that room, and they watched him curiously, not without sympathy, but with that strange coldness which is common to a crowd, always waiting for someone else to do something. He groped again, and I thought, good heavens, where is the waiter? I looked sharply at one of the young subalterns, and the glance he threw back at me seemed to say, "Dignity, please. We must preserve our dignity." But the great general had seen that glance, and, half turning, he took in the meaning of the scene in a moment. He got up quickly and walked around the American's table to the extra chair, picked up the boy's things, and returned to his side as we stared unbelieving. "Your coat, sir." He helped the boy into the heavy garment with all the deft sureness of the perfectly trained gentleman's gentleman. "Your cap, sir." The general pressed it into the blind American's grasp. A pause, and then, Your stick, sir. As the American took his cane, he fumbled for something in his overcoat pocket. He pressed a coin into General Borden's hand. The great man's bow was more for the occasion than for the boy who could not see him. But only we at that table were near enough to catch his words, which were meant only for the young American. The general said, "Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir." Then my eyes filled, and I could see no better than the boy, who had been so kindly and humbly served by the man of steel.
Out there, skillful American Army surgeons have picked some 15 pieces of steel out of his body since last fall. He is Corporal Andrew Ruskansky, who beat death to the punch and got home in time to marry his best girl so that both of them could have Christmas dinner with the family. Corporal Ruskansky is waiting for us at Halloran General Hospital.
We are speaking to you from Halloran General Hospital in Willowbrook, Staten Island, New York. Just to make Bob St. John's introduction a little more complete, Corporal Andrew Ruskansky, seated beside me here, is a fine-looking young man, 22 years old. That right, Corporal?
The age is correct, Mr. Sherry.
I thought the girls might be interested in further description.
Trouble with that is that I'm only interested in one girl, and that's my wife, Frances.
Okay, enough of description then. And if you don't mind, Corporal Ruskansky, I'm going to let you do most of the talking in order to keep the ball rolling. Suppose you start by telling us the why, the when, and where of things.
Well, I signed up with the United States Army Air Forces in Newark, New Jersey on December 12th, 1941. That was 5 days after Pearl Harbor, so now you know why I joined.
I get it.
I was to be an airplane mechanic. I took my basic and other schooling at Keesler Field, Mississippi, and for further training, I was sent out to Burbank, California. I went to England in June 1942 to join my outfit, a fighter group, and we landed in Africa with the invasion forces on November 8th.
Under fire, were you?
No, Bob, not that time. The Rangers had already cleared the beaches.
Well, then what happened, Corporal Ruskansky?
Well, we were all through the Tunisian campaign and narrowly missed getting caught during that famous retreat through the Kasserine Pass. We were providing air cover for our troops, remember? So we were the last out.
But I should think with planes to take you...
We're mechanics. See, strictly ground crew. We don't fly. When we have to get out, we get out on the ground.
I see. Now, Bob St. John, in mentioning your injuries, said that the surgeons had removed some 15 pieces of shell fragment from your body, Corporal.
That's approximately correct, although I think I still have one piece with me. That's one of the reasons why I'm still here at Halloran General Hospital.
And one of the reasons why I'm here is to ask you to tell us about it. Do you mind?
Well, I don't mind talking about it. It was a day I'll never forget.
I guess not. Well, how did it happen?
Well, with 3 other fellows, I'm the crew chief, we were out on a line servicing our plane. It was 6:30 on the morning of June 7th, 1943, and our fighter group was getting ready to take off on a mission. Off to one side of the field, there was a cliff, and we heard the roar of the Messerschmitt squadron just as it came over the rise. We hit the ground fast.
But they got you anyway.
No, sir, it didn't happen then. The Messerschmitts weren't after us especially. They bombed and strafed the field, and we stayed put. And then they came back for a second run and headed home.
And then what?
Well, my crew, all of us, got up and dusted ourselves off, making the kind of jokes we usually make after a little excitement like that. Our plane was all revved up and ready for its job, so I started off across the field to get some breakfast. I got a few feet away from my crew when 3 Focke-Wulfs came in low over the rise. I twisted to look at one of them so close to the ground that the pilot and I were staring at each other for a split second. I remember thinking when he grinned at me that he had a nice set of teeth. But he had something else. He had a 50-pound fragmentation bomb, and he let go as he went by. His 2 mates did the same, and so far as I'm concerned, that was it.
Plus 6 months in hospitals in Africa and here. Tell us, Corporal Ruskansky, you'll be able to leave Halloran General Hospital pretty soon, won't you?
I don't know how soon, Mr. Cherry. The doctors still have designs on the nerve of my leg.
And after that?
It's up to Uncle Sam, and I notice our time's almost up. Would it be all right if I send a greeting to my old outfit? They're in Italy now.
It wouldn't make much difference where they are, because this is a worldwide network. Go ahead, Corporal. It's on the house.
Merry Christmas, gang. Keep 'em flying. I hope to see you back soon.
From Halloran General Hospital, we return you to Robert St. John in our New York studios.
California, here I come, and my time is your time. Couldn't be advance musical notice for anyone but Lieutenant Rudy Valley, who is waiting for us with the United States Coast Guard Band in Hollywood.
that never ends. Life may be swift and fleeting, hope may die, yet love's beautiful music comes each day like the dawn. Love is a song that never ends, one simple theme repeating, like the voice of a heavenly choir. Love's sweet music flows
Following the prelude to Humperdinck's opera Hansel and Gretel, Mr. Stokowski and the NBC Symphony Orchestra are heard playing the Shepherd's music from the Christmas oratorio of Bach.
He took in the meaning of the scene in a moment. He got up quickly and walked around the American's table to the extra chair, picked up the boy's things, and returned to his side as we stared unbelieving. Your coat, sir. He helped the boy into the heavy garment with all the deft sureness of the perfectly trained gentleman's gentleman. Your cap, sir. The general pressed it into the blind American's grasp. A pause, and then, your stick, sir. As the American took his cane, he fumbled for something in his overcoat pocket. He pressed a coin into General Borden's hand. The great man's bow was more for the occasion than for the boy who could not see him, but only we at that table were near enough to catch his words, which were meant only for the young American. The general said, "Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir." Then my eyes filled, and I could see no better than the boy, who had been so kindly and humbly served by the man of steel.
We know one soldier who's having a real Christmas reunion this year. He's out at Halloran General Hospital in Willowbrook, Staten Island.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City, the National Broadcasting Company is privileged to bring you a portion of the annual program of Christmas carols as they are sung by the choir and congregation of this great metropolitan church. In just a moment, we will have one of the most beautiful of the traditional carols, the First Noel. Welcome be thou, heavenly King. Welcome, born one glad morning. Welcome, for whom we shall sing. And here is another from the ancient treasury of Christmas songs, Welcome Yule. Congregation of the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City join in a carol that was born in France, The Sleep of the Child Jesus.
Oh
Snowbound mountains, snowbound valleys, snowbound plateaus clad in white, fur-robed mujiks, fur-robed nobles, fur-robed children see the light. And thus begins the favorite of all the Christmas carols sung in White Russia, the Carol of the Russian Children. The Carol of the Russian Children. Our program of Christmas carols from the Cathedral of St. John continues with another old favorite, Lo, how a rose are blowing. Now we hear the choir and congregation of St. John the Divine as they sing an old Alsatian carol, Sleep, Little Dove. From one of the world's great churches, the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City, we have brought you a portion of the evening prayer service at which the choir and congregation of the cathedral united in singing some of the most beautiful carols in the treasury of Christmas songs. We hope you enjoyed it. This is the National Broadcasting Company.